All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we talk about one of their most talented undrafted free agent signings that we didn't notice the first time around. We'll talk about him coming up next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. So don't make sure you get there early. Don't show up at 5 minutes before they're closing thinking you're going to get everything they have, because they do run out. They run out. But go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket. Get some brisket chili. Tell them the Krug sent you. We're also brought to you by our good friends at Mancini's. That's right. Mancini's Sleep World is a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Check out Mancini's. They've got some great sales going on right now. The spring clearance sale just ended. Plus, if you go there, you get an extra 10% off when you use our exclusive code KRUG10. And the best part, Mancini's now offers a 365-night comfort guarantee. You get a full year to decide if the mattress is the perfect fit. On top of that, they provide free next-day delivery and a best price guarantee, so you shop with total confidence. Click the link in the description and make sure you use the code KRUG10 to get your 10% discount. Once again, click inside the description. Make sure you use the code KRUG10, KRUEG 10, to get that 10% off. And thanks to Mancini's for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Well, the Niners had the draft. Then they had their undrafted class after the draft, and we went through it. And I did some videos on some of the guys that really stood out. One of the guys that kind of eluded me, I didn't know anything about it. I admitted to the people who asked me, "What do you think of Drew Moss? What do you think of Drew Moss?" And I'd say, you know what, I don't know much about Drew Moss. But I finally took the time and I did the work. And man, the Niners really got something here in Colorado State guard Drew Moss. Really like him. 90.5 PFF grade, 92.5 run block grade, 98.8% pass block efficiency, 4-year starter, played both sides on both positions on the right side, played both right guard and right tackle, had a 9.28 RAS score, including a 4.58 short shuttle, which was 92nd percentile in a metric highly predictive of interior offensive lineman future success. The Niners love the short shuttle. And if you look at the linemen they drafted last year, obviously Dom Pooney, Jarrett Kingston, and then, of course, after the draft, they signed Drake Nugent and a guy named Bryson Mays. They all had great short shuttle times. The Niners really like those offensive linemen that can move because they feel like it's an essential element of their outside zone blocking scheme is they have to have offensive linemen that can move. So they want guys who can absolutely move, and they love that short shuttle and the 10-yard split as testing indicators of that mobility. And the fact that Drew Moss was 92nd percentile in the short shuttle probably put him squarely on the Niners' radar. Now, there's other reasons to like this player. He's only going to be 21 years old on draft night. So last year he posted a 90.5 PFF grade that included a 92.5 run block grade. And as I mentioned before, 98.8% pass blocking efficiency. So the guy's a really good pass blocker. Oh yeah. And he's a good run blocker. There are inconsistencies in his profile. He like a lot of guys who don't have long arms, he gets a little grabby. He doesn't have that wingspan, so he's got to grab and clutch a little bit more. So that's something that he's going to get called for in the NFL. But there's no question. This guy looks like a young, high upside offensive guard that kind of fell underneath the radar. And this gives the 49ers two guys like this because, there's no question that the Iowa kid, Connor Colby, is very similar, very athletic, not long arms, but great athleticism, great ability to move in the outside zone blocking scheme, great fits for the Niners outside zone scheme. You got to have that speed. You got to have that agility. That's a big part of what they do. So Colby should be a fit. Moss should be a fit. They could become functional run blockers for the 49ers. As I said, they both have short arms, 32-inch arms. That's very short for an offensive lineman. So in pass protection, they're probably gonna struggle. They're gonna go up against a guy like Mikael Williams from time to time, who has 35-inch arms, and they have 32-inch arms, and they're gonna have a hard time getting in on his body. So that's gonna be the challenge. Alfred Collins, the Niners' second-round pick, for example, has 34 and 5/8-inch arms. There's no question that Drew Moss and Connor Colby are going to struggle at times to get their hands on a guy like Alfred Collins. So that's going to be a challenge. That will not be easy. But, it's funny. The Niners addressed the offensive line late in the draft with Connor Colby, and they added Moss as an undrafted free agent as an interior offensive lineman. And to me, this is a really, really good pickup. He's a proficient zone blocker. He's got the desired physical traits that Shanahan looks for in his offensive lineman. He's got, good pass. I mean, even though he's got a 92.6 run blocking grade, he had an 81.3 pass blocking grade on 866 snaps. On 438 pass blocking snaps, Moss allowed only 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 7 hurries, and 9 total pressures. So he had a 97.0 true pass set efficiency in 2024. And they're going to throw him into the competition at left guard. So I would imagine Colby and Moss, Zakel, and others, will be in that mix for that left guard spot. I mean, it's going to be a wide open deal. Ben Barch, Nick Zakel, Zach Johnson, possibly Nugent, Connor Colby, Drew Moss. These guys will all be competing for that left guard spot. And I think it's going to be a pretty good competition. But it's good to see that the 49ers didn't get totally shut out on the offensive line. They did get shut out of the tackle market. They couldn't find their swing tackle. It ultimately resulted in them signing the veteran DJ Humphries as a veteran swing tackle. But I think in Connor Colby in the 7th round and Drew Moss as an undrafted guy, they got a couple guards that fit their system that could be in the mix to start. So remember that name this summer when you're watching the 49ers in training camp, Drew Moss. I think him and Connor Colby are going to be the kinds of linemen that you don't think much of on draft day, but when you see them out there, as really the guys that really have a lot of the physical traits that Kyle Shanahan and Chris Forster demand out of their offensive linemen. Guys who are proficient zone blockers, guys who have athleticism and foot speed and the ability to move and locate a body in space in the run game and, block that guy. And, that's what the Niners are looking for in their offensive linemen. And it sounds like between Connor Colby and now Drew Moss, they may have found a couple fits for their offensive line. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. And thanks to Mancini's for sponsoring this video. Give a like and subscribe on your way out the door. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.